All right, we're going to get started. Good evening and welcome to the November 4, 2024 City Council Special Hybrid Meeting. I'm Mayor Salim Neese, and this evening's hybrid City Council meeting is being brought to you in person and by Zoom. We're also broadcasting live on MITV Channel 21 and the city's YouTube channel. Welcome and thanks for joining us tonight. Council members, please have your microphones turned on for roll call. City Clerk Andrea Larson, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Andral. Here. Councilmember Jacobson.
Here.
Councilmember Reynolds is absent. Councilmember Weicker. Here. Councilmember Weinberg.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Here.
And Mayor Neese.
Here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
City Clerk, if I could interrupt, we just received an email from Councilmember Reynolds that he is now trying to join, so we will
I see him in the
Try to get him
attendees,
connected.
and I will promote him. And I'll note for the record that Councilmember Reynolds has joined the meeting at 5:01 p.m.
Okay, while we do that, we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. Council, if you've joined us in council chambers, please stand and face the flag. If you join via Zoom, please mute and turn off your video. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we now move to approval of tonight's agenda. If there's no questions, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum, seconded by Councilmember Jacobson. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Andral. Aye. Councilmember Reynolds.
Aye.
Councilmember Weinberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Aye.
Mayor Neese.
Aye.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Aye.
And Councilmember Weicker. Aye. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Motion passes. The agenda is approved. Next item is City Manager report. We welcome City Manager Jesse Bond.
Good evening, City Council. Whoops, I got all sorts of things popping up here. All right. It is Monday, November 4th. First up is a look at our upcoming meeting calendar for the month of November. I'll remind you, Council, your next meeting is Tuesday, November 19th. On deck for the boards and commissions, we have a Parks and Recreation Commission meeting this week. Utility Board and Arts Council, well, the Utility Board is meeting next week and the Arts Council the week thereafter. We keep all of our calendars updated on the website at the link on the bottom of your screen. Next slide. Just a reminder that the recruitment for the Planning Commission is open and was extended to November 19th. We are looking for to fill 5 positions, 2 resident laypersons, 1 resident paid practitioner, and 2 non-resident paid practitioners. This is a slight change in the Planning Commission, and if you'd like more information about those positions or to read more about the qualifications, we have all that information posted on our website. Again, the deadline has been extended to November 19th. Next slide. Hey, some good news. The Luther Burbank Park Sports Court renovation, after some challenges with the asphalt, we are happy to say that we are in the home stretch for this phase. We're putting down temporary striping. We've installed the posts for nets and the court fencing. And weather permitting, we'll be putting in the concrete walkway very soon as well. We think it'll be another 2 to 3 weeks before the courts will be available for play. And then just a reminder, this spring, when the temperatures warm back up again, we'll be putting down the permanent surfacing and the permanent striping. Council, we are planning for a official ribbon cutting and opening this spring, where we will also be providing walkthroughs of the boiler building at the Luther Burbank Park. Next slide, please. Quick update on the 80th Avenue pedestrian improvements. That work is ongoing. We have a lot of construction happening right now in Town Center. As a reminder, this project is replacing a sidewalk that was heavily heaving from tree roots. We'll be putting in new trees and lighting along the east side of 80th Avenue. We've been working on the last couple of weeks when the weather allowed, new curb, gutter, sidewalk, and as you can see in that photo there, a new set of stairs. The new light poles are also being installed, and we're starting to take out some of the asphalt where the concrete is going in. More to come, and we'll continue to provide updates on this very important project. I do know a number of businesses have reached out and indicated some concerns about impacts to their access and driveways due to the holiday season. So the staff are working with them to make sure we're well coordinated in that regard. All right, next slide, please. Tree giveaway. We have been promoting this across the city channels for over a month now. I'm not sure I've mentioned it to the city council, so I wanted to drop it in the presentation tonight. The city has partnered with the Washington State Nursery and Landscape Association to encourage tree planting on residential properties. Mercer Island residents can apply for a voucher that will provide about $150 towards the purchase of a single tree or several smaller trees. In fact, the tree in that photo, and I'm not sure what kind of tree that is, was purchased and planted through this voucher program. So this is really important as we work on growing our tree canopy on the island. One of the best places to do so is actually on residential properties. So more information on our website to apply for this tree voucher program. Next slide, please. Also, in some good news, over the summer, the Mercerdale playground was vandalized. That impacted the beloved train, the surfacing at the playground, and that cone spinner, which is in that upper right-hand picture, I think might be one of our most popular play pieces, was also not working. So the great news is all of the repairs are now complete. Everything is operational. We're still working on some of the interior of the train, but the equipment is fully back online. So thanks to the team and our vendors for working to get that equipment fixed. Next slide, please. This is that time of year when we start pushing out reminders to everyone in the community to help us clear the storm drains. Mother Nature is blowing the wind like crazy. We have lots of tree fall. Our crews are doing everything they can to keep the storm drains and culverts clear, but we need help from our community. When you see a drain cleared, please scoop those leaves up and put them in the compost bin. We're continuing to work these issues. If you have a major blockage, we encourage you to reach out and submit a service request, and we'll get a crew out to assist as soon as possible. Next slide, please. Hey, we had a great Halloween, minus the pouring down rain on Halloween itself. But starting with the Friday trick-or-treat through the town center, it's really tough for us to actually quantify how many people were out, but I have to say I've been out several years in a row, and I think it was our biggest town center trick-or-treat we've ever had. It was great. Lots of staff out and many businesses participating. It was a ton of fun. The pumpkin walk was also a great success, although it was a little rainy that day. Again, our thanks to everyone that contributed pumpkins and came out for a really great evening. And last but not least, thanks to the Parks and Recreation team for putting on a great Hallow weekend again this year. All right, upcoming events, I've got a couple to remind you about. We went straight from Halloween to holiday lights. If you've been in the town center lately or seen the front of the community center building where we're at, the holiday lights are up. The Mercerdale tree is almost completely lit. We'll be keeping the lights on through the new year. And just a reminder, our holiday tree lighting is on Thursday, December 5th this year. It is a Thursday now. So come on out for the tree lighting. We also have just a really long list of other holiday events planned in November and December. They're all published on our website, and we'll be certainly promoting them individually across all of our communications channels in the coming weeks. And one more, some good news. Hey, we wanted to mention that we got a grant. Yes. The city was awarded $100,000 from the Department of Commerce. City Council, you know that the electrical vehicle charging plan, which is intended to be completed in phases over the next 3 to 4, maybe 5 years, is a really incredible lift. We intend to start with the planning work related to the city's fleet, And this is really important because we're in the process of designing a public safety and maintenance building, which will house most of the city's fleet. So all of this came together really nicely. We are turning around quickly and issuing an RFP for a consultant to help us work on this first phase of the EV charging plan. I want to give a shout out to our sustainability program analyst, Alana De Rogatis. She jumped on this as soon as she realized we had resources available that lined up with the work that needed to be done. She coordinated all the staff, got the application turned in, and we were successful. So really excited. Great job, Alana, and onward. All right, also a shout out. Last week, we had our annual drug take-back event. Really pleased to announce that we collected over 150 pounds of medications that were turned over to the DEA for destruction. That's a picture of our crew out hosting the event. So thank you to the Mercer Island Police Department for coordinating this event. And I think that's our last slide tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next item of business is appearances. This is an opportunity for anyone to speak to the city council on any item except items requiring a public hearing, quasi-judicial matters, or campaign-related matters. Tonight's agenda will include in-person public appearances and remote public appearance via Zoom. Individuals wishing to address the council may do so in person or by Zoom or telephone, provided they register with the city clerk by 4 p.m. today. When it's your turn to speak, you'll be called by name. Remarks must be addressed to the council as a whole, not to individual council or staff members. Any person making personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks who becomes boisterous, threatening, or personally abusive while addressing the city council may be requested to leave the meeting. Please speak audibly, state your name and city of residence for the record. There'll be a timer on the screen. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. When your time is ended, I'll thank you for your comments and move to the next speaker or item of business. City Clerk, please call the first speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our first speaker tonight is Addie Smith.
Can you hear me?
Sure can.
All right. Host has asked you to start your video. Can you guys hear me okay?
Sure can.
Okay. My name is Addie Smith. Today is
Can we pause that timer? Ms. Smith, we can't hear you at all. I don't know if you can do something to improve the audio on your end, but it's not coming through at all. Okay, let's go to the next speaker and we'll circle back.
I've been
Move to the next one.
Yep. That's going to be in person.
Yes, our
Ms.
next
Sue
speaker
Stewart.
is Sue Stewart.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Sue Stewart. I've been a resident for 50 years. I'm here tonight as president of Friends of Luther Burbank Park to celebrate what I hope will be a unanimous vote on the designation of open space parks. Most residents are likely unaware that some parks have an underlying zoning of residential. Luther Burbank Park is R15,000, lots of 15,000 square feet. Upper Luther Burbank Park and all 3 portions of Pioneer Park are zoned residential with 8,600 square foot housing. One former city development director shared with former mayor Elliott Newman, former president of King County League of Women Voters Amanda Clark, and me, that the city's plan was that if the city ever decided to surplus a park, the zoning could be honored, houses could be built according to that quiet underlying residential zoning. I was here when the council member Lisa Andrell asked that open space be included in this year's comprehensive plan. It was at the conclusion of the mountain bike closure on Upper Luther Burbank Park. Most all of you council members visited Upper Luther then. Friends has watched the process travel through the work of the Planning and Parks Commissioners, so our members and all park lovers on this island should thank first Lisa and all others involved in this new map protecting 6 of the open space parks with better defined protections and uses. Luther Burbank Park's 55 acres is now being redefined as an active park, and citizens need to keep on what may be in the works. Some comments about the future of the administration building deserve clarifications to citizens. Deviating from my position as president of Friends of Luther Burbank Park, on October 1st, I asked about grandfathering of some larger pea patches by longtime gardeners. At the October 8th Parks Commission meeting, 3 members asked for a process to address the issue. First, Commissioner Don Cohen, then Ashley Hay, and agreed to by Chairman Peter Struck. In today's documents, in preparation for this coming Thursday's commission meeting, no amendment avenue is offered by staff. We petitioners find that unfortunate. But for tonight, lovers of parks need to celebrate Agenda Bill 6558, Open Space Park Designation. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Dan Thompson.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Thompson, and I've been a resident for over 50 years. I have completed reading the entire draft comprehensive plan. It is a very good plan, and in my opinion shows that the majority of this council really understands the issue. And I really appreciate all the work that you put into it, because I think it's going to turn out to be very important. As I predicted, almost no regular citizens participated. The only comments really are from the Master Builders Association and FutureWise. Neither discuss or even consider the fact Mercer Island has lost over 1,000 residents since 2020, and our current future housing capacity is 330 units more than even the GMPC estimates. As I point out in my email, all of this upzoning is based on 3 falsehoods. One is that 1 million new residents will move to Washington in the next 20 years, when population's been flat in King County for the last 4 years. That the cities of King County don't have existing zoning capacity to meet these inflated housing targets, and that any new market rate construction will be affordable. I've already talked to you before. I think it's critical that you appoint a liaison to the Planning Commission so that we don't go through this again. The new Planning Commission might not understand what you've gone through on this plan and your vision. Some might be from off island. They don't read minds. You have to stay more engaged. I've already talked to you about housing elements 5.2 and 5.3. I think that they should be amended to add consistent with state law and the comprehensive plan. Your promise to the citizens is the comprehensive plan, and that is what the next Planning Commission must take into consideration. It's your policy. And that is critical because there is a divergent between a single family, primarily low density community, and 1110 and 1337. Going forward, as we learned from the community facility zones, it's the development regulations where the rubber meets the road. We're going to need to have some regulations that, one, multiple dwellings on the lot have the same GFAR as a single family zone. Number 2, any dwellings above 1 must have an affordability mandate, just like they do in the town center under 1220. We're going to have to maximize our parking minimum so our streets are not overrun. And number 4, one I didn't mention, is any affordable housing unit under 1110 to create more dwellings must be the same size as any other dwelling so that it's not tiny.
Thank you.
together.
Our next speaker tonight is Evan Lawler.
You hear me?
We can.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do I need to start over?
You do.
Okay, sorry. Trying to figure this out from my phone. My name is Evan Lawler, resident of Bainbridge Island. I represent SRM, which owns Tabit Village. Obviously, our center is tired and it's had some challenges with the fire. And at some point, not too soon, we would plan to redevelop that center. We'd be, I'll take a step back here. Sorry, this is with respect to the comprehensive plan update. If we were to redevelop, we'd be required to replace the retail square footage at a 1-to-1 square foot basis, which is fine. In the comp plan, we've noticed that the plan allows for additional density in the town center, which we tend to agree the additional density is needed to make a redevelopment project work. But right now we can go 5 stories, but 5 stories is a very inefficient development size for a location such as this. 7 stories would be much better. The current density bonus to achieve 7 stories would require 15% of the units be affordable at 50% AMI. The challenge with this is that no longer makes the development density feasible to construct from a cost perspective when you layer on all of the state's latest building codes. Subsidizing the rents to make the affordable housing component work would create rent levels that probably wouldn't be supported by the residents of Mercer Island that didn't qualify for affordable housing. So if the intent of this affordable housing density bonus is to disincentivize development of town center, I think perhaps that's going to be achieved. We see the similar thing playing out in Redmond, in Kirkland, and we're not optimistic that they're going to be successful with these same development mandates for density. Time will tell if anyone's able to crack the code and develop under these new affordable scenarios. I guess where does this leave us? We'd like to ask if you're looking for development with reasonable rents to residents of Mercer Island, perhaps consider a fee in lieu payment to Arch to support affordable housing. We understand that this will be compliant under the city's affordable housing
Thank you.
obligation.
Do you want to circle back now for Addie Smith?
Yes, she would like to try again. Our next speaker will be Addie Smith.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We can.
All right.
We'll reset that timer and give it another shot.
All right. Good evening. My name is Addie Smith, and today I am speaking before the City of Mercer Island City Council members. Today is Monday, the day before election, November 4th, 2024. I want to say, do not believe their tears when they cry about experiencing hate. Their tears are fake. If they were real, they demand justice and fight for justice for anyone who experiences racism and hate. They fight for children who experience racism and hate. These city council members have known for over 5 years now that my daughter and I were experiencing racism, hate, and discrimination by residents of Mercer Island, white residents. I am an African-American woman, and so is my daughter. These city council members did absolutely nothing to stop it. The police did absolutely nothing to stop it. The city attorney, prosecutor, Judge Jeff Gregory, and the Mercer Island Municipal Court all report to these city members. These city council members allowed hate crimes to happen and then protected their police officers in attempts that have now spanned over 5 years to prevent the city from dealing with a lawsuit. When I was attacked on November 19, 2019, the police arrested me and not the person that they had known for months prior that was attacking my daughter and I. But she is white and I am black. She is a convicted felon and I am not. I was the manager of the $100 million building and my attacker was just one of several racists living there. These city council members have allowed Judge Jeff Gregory to lie to them and to you and to prevent me from having an attorney that I am well within the right to have and have been denied by Judge Jeff Gregory. I haven't been able to work or start a business for more than 5 years because these city council members and the Mercer Island Municipal Court have been reporting fraudulent charges and court dates to every employment and business opportunity I have ever applied for in the last 5 years. These are the people that you continue to elect to office, and it is time to stop. It is time to say no to racism and discrimination, which is what my daughter and I experienced, which is what I have been reporting to the police 6 months before I was arrested for defending myself. My attacker had a gun. The white woman who attacked me at the elevator had a gun. I would have been killed if I had not defended myself, and the Mercer Island police were at my door the day before that attack, and
Okay,
I told them
thank
the
you.
exact.
Do we have any other public comment tonight?
There are no further speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, that's going to take us to the consent agenda, which contains AB 6561, October 18, 2024 payroll certification, certification of claims for October 11, 18, and 25, 2024, City Council regular hybrid meeting minutes of October 15, 2024, AB 6560, shop small month proclamation number 350, AB 6558, second reading of ordinance number 24C-15, open space zone code amendment, AB 6562, Imagine Housing Priority and Subordination Agreement, AB 6565, 2025-2026 Biennial Budget Workshop, follow-up on remaining budget proposals, AB 6569, correction to the reallocation of the Arch HTF funds for the Redmond Plymouth Housing Project, AB 6570, written public comment on the proposed changes to Washington State Supreme Court standards for indigent defense. Is there anybody that wants to pull anything from consent?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to pull item number 7, AB 6565, from the consent agenda.
Okay, we're going to pull AB 6565, the 2025-2026 Biennial Budget Workshop, follow-up on remaining budget proposals. Do you have a motion to approve consent as amended?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Jacobson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Reynolds.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Aye.
Councilmember Weigert.
Aye.
Councilmember Weinberg.
Aye.
Mayor Neese.
Aye.
Councilmember Andral.
Aye.
And Councilmember Jacobson.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, consent is approved. That makes our first item of business, AB 6565, 2025-2026 Biennial Budget Workshop, follow-up on remaining budget proposals. I will give the floor to Councilmember Jacobson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move to amend the city manager's 25-26 work plan to include a revision to the Code of Ethics and direct staff to return with a proposed scope of work and appropriation request by Q2 2025.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Jacobson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum. Do you want to speak to the motion?
Yes, I think both of the city officials who've been subjected to this have discovered that at much cost and inconvenience and heartburn, the results that are achieved are not worth the effort put together. Specifically, somebody that's accused of something should have the opportunity to stand up and present evidence prior to a full-blown hearing. Secondly, the guardrails over who's doing the hearing and what rules they should apply need to be much clearer, since in both instances that we've had these ethics complaints under the current code. The hearing officers have departed significantly from either accepted legal procedures or what is reasonably clear from our ordinance. So I think it needs cleaning up both for purposes of streamlining and for protection of both those who make ethics complaints and those city officials against whom ethics complaints are levied.
Okay, thank you for that. Council, any questions? All right, any discussion? Not seeing any. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 1 second, I lost my place. Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Aye.
Councilmember Weinberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Weiger.
Aye.
Mayor Neese.
Aye.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Aye.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Aye.
And Councilmember Andral.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, motion passes. Since this was pooled, I'm just going to read the other motion and we'll take it as one slog. I move to appropriate $30,000 of the 2023 year-end unassigned fund balance for the general fund for the fee in lieu program for affordable housing and add the community planning and development department's work plan in the 2025-2026 budget. And 2, appropriate $20,000 of the 2023 year-end unassigned fund balance in the general fund for the digital accessibility audit of web and mobile app access for people with disabilities and add to the administrative services department work plan in 2025-2026 biennial budget. And 3, appropriate the remaining $6,273 of the 2023 year-end unassigned fund balance in the general fund to the municipal facility replacement fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mayor Neese, seconded by Councilmember Jacobson. Any discussion? Not seeing any discussion. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Reynolds.
Aye.
Mayor Neese.
Aye.
Councilmember Weinberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Andral.
Aye.
Councilmember Weiger.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum is not in the room. And Councilmember Jacobson.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, motion passes. Our next item of regular business is AB 6559, first reading of ordinance number 24C-16 to adopt the 2024 comprehensive plan. And we welcome CPD Director Jeff Thomas and Senior Planner Adam Zach. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, Council. We're going to keep things fairly short and sweet here this afternoon from the staff presentation perspective. I think Allie's going to pull up a slide deck we have here. This is first reading of the adoption of the 2024 comprehensive plan. What I'd like to do is just spend a quick minute recapping what's happened since we last talked to you about this subject on September 17th. So if we could advance the slide, that'd be great. There we go. Three key events have happened since September 17th when we were last in front of you for this. The first one is the public review draft as council directed. A draft 2024 City Council Comprehensive Plan was produced and made available for public review and comment on October 1st. The second key event that's happened is a couple of final internal reviews. Our legal city attorney's office and the city manager both completed final reviews, and we do have some recommended amendments that were provided in a matrix in Exhibit 2 of your packet materials. And then the third key event that's happened since the 17th of September is once we got the draft posted for public review and comment on October 1st, we did receive public comments through the end of October there, and your council packet was actually updated on Friday the 1st with all public comments that had been received in writing by the city through October 31st. So those are the key events since we were last in front of you. Next slide, please. In your packet, we do have a couple of recommended motions for the council to consider here this evening at first reading. Just in order as they appear in your packet. Number 1 is a recommended motion related to approving the proposed amendments contained in Exhibit 2 of your council materials and direct staff to include these in the final 2024 comprehensive plan that would come back to you on November 19th for second reading. An alternate motion that was provided in your packet. If you wish to go item by item through the matrix, you could use the alternate motion there and insert item numbers, log numbers as you see fit. The second proposed motion would be then to complete first reading and schedule a second reading for November 19th for ordinance 24C-16. And then finally, in closing, the last motion there that was in your packet is in relation to non-substantive amendments. And that would be a motion to direct the city manager to make any final non-substantive amendments as necessary to the 2024 comprehensive plan in preparation for that second reading and adoption on the 19th of November. Next slide, please. So just quickly, next steps. We need to, after completing first reading, do any final work to produce a clean copy to present it to the council for adoption on the 19th of November. And then also we'll be doing some work post-adoption on final plan layout. And I believe we have a consultant that we've used before for other plans that might be able to help us with that. That concludes my comments. I'm going to turn it over to our city manager at this point, who I believe has a couple of additional comments she'd like to make. So Jesse, take it away.
Thank you, Jeff. Ally, next slide, and it's just one slide. Thank you. Council, I'll acknowledge that this may be the last meeting where we're having a substantial in-depth discussion on the comprehensive plan. But as we get closer to that final adoption, I did want to take a moment to recognize 3 years, nearly 3 years, of work by a really significant number of people. You know, to the Mercer Island community for following the process for as long as you have, participating in all of the meetings, commission meetings, working group meetings and such. We thank you. City Council, I know how much work has gone on behind the scenes, including giving up a good portion of your summer to read word by word the draft from the Planning Commission. Thank you, not just for the summer, but everything leading up to it. For the Planning Commission, for all of the work that you did, many meetings, I don't even know how many, dozens, thank you. The Council and Planning Commission came together as well and formed working groups to tackle the housing element and the economic development element. Really appreciate the additional time you contributed there. And certainly last but not least, I want to acknowledge all of the staff across many, many, many divisions, departments, and certainly to the CPT team led by Adam Zach. Thank you. We're not there yet, but we're darn close. And I just wanted to say we appreciate you before we get to the discussion tonight and hopefully the adoption at the next meeting. Thank you, everyone. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, council, open it up for questions or motions. Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Yeah, I have a motion when the time is right.
The time is right.
I move to approve the proposed amendments in Exhibit 2 and direct staff to include these changes in the 2024 comprehensive plan.
Okay, moved by Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum, seconded by Councilmember Jacobson. All right. Do you want to speak to the motion at all, or?
Yeah, sure. I imagine everyone has a chance to review the matrix that was sent out. You know, these are changes that make a lot of sense, and I appreciate the effort that went into them to bring a lot of this into, what's the right word over here? Confluence, congruence with other plans and other efforts that this council and other council have taken on. And I think these make sense.
Thank you. Councilmember Anderall.
Yeah, thank you. I'm completely supportive of the motion. And I do believe that they are excellent changes. And I want to thank the city manager and staff for all the work to comb through and eliminate redundancy. I have a question as well, though, and if I were to be supportive of Mr. Thompson's recommended changes to 5.2 and 5.3 in the housing element, I think, to simply add language that says consistent with state law and this comprehensive plan, when is the appropriate time to kind of bring that in?
It's probably now as an amendment to the main motion is what my recommendation would be, unless the mayor has a different approach this evening.
No, I think that's fine. I think for everybody's benefit, it'd be nice to have the language from the comp plan on the screen if that motion's going to be made. Are you going to make that amendment to the motion, Councilmember Randall?
Yes, I would like to make a friendly amendment to the motion if the deputy mayor considers it to be friendly, to add, I believe it's language, I believe to 5.2 and 5.3 of the housing element that simply adds the qualifier consistent with state law and this comprehensive plan.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recommend that we not friendly amend it and we just make the amendment for our own record keeping, if that's okay with the
Yeah,
council.
before I get anybody seconding that, I'd like to see it on the screen so we can make sure people know what they're seconding.
All right, give us a second.
While that's coming up, I'll just add, if it is in fact 5.2 and 5.3 that we are looking at, 5.3 already has that language in it. So it might be just 5.2 that the amendment pertained to.
Sure, yeah, I'm kind of a little late to the party. I had a lot of reading to do and only kind of recently got caught up, so, but
Yeah.
I think Dan's points are good.
We're juggling screens here. Adam, do you happen to be online and in a position, or do you have it, Ali? Housing element? And you are going to page, oh, you've got it.
Yeah, I'm sharing here. This is Agenda Bill 6559, Exhibit 1B3, page 13 of the housing element.
Okay, so can we edit this document on the screen, or is this a PDF that can't be edited?
It's going to get a little messy if we do that, Mr. Mayor.
So we need to know where this phrase needs to be inserted, consistent with state law and this comprehensive plan. Is at the end of 5.2?
Yeah, Adam, could you zoom in?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Okay,
you can see 5.3 already has that language at the end of it.
Well, 5.3 would have to have added state law, after state law, it would say, and this comprehensive plan.
Okay, so I don't know what the best way to capture the motion is, but I think it's pretty clear that she's suggesting adding it consistent with this comprehensive plan to 5.3 and then with state law and this comprehensive plan to 5.2 at the end of those sentences.
Mr.
That's
Mayor,
correct. And I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to send it out in advance of the meeting. I just wasn't really sure how to get that done.
I captured amend housing element goal 5.3 to add consistent with state law in this comprehensive plan.
actually, Andrew, that's 5.2.
5.2.
And then to policy 5.3, add the words consistent with this comprehensive plan, or whatever the same language is for 5.2.
Is there any part of that motion that is pointing that at the housing chapter? Because
I'm
need
sorry,
to-
could you say that again?
is there some part of that motion pointing it to the housing chapter? Because there's lots of 5.2s.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to fix. So that the first part of the motion should be amend the housing element. You got that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, with that, City Clerk, can you read the motion back to the council, and I'll be looking for a second.
Yes, so I have amend the main motion to amend the housing element goal 5.2 to add consistent with state law in this comprehensive plan, and to add to housing element goal 5.3 to add consistent with this comprehensive plan.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, seconded by Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum. All right, any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Reynolds' hand is up.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Thank you. I'd just like to get an opinion from the city manager, the city attorney, or somebody else as to what the practical effect of this would be. It strikes me that if it weren't consistent with state law, we wouldn't be able to do it regardless. So adding a statement saying we're going to follow the law what does that add?
There's no effect. The comprehensive plan is being adopted consistent with state law and itself, but sometimes that language is preferred by the council.
Can I ask Councilmember Andrew to explain what problem she sees that she's trying to address?
Yeah, no, I just was persuaded by Dan's comments in his email and in public comment portion of this meeting that that language would be an enhancement to the plan. And
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Is that all, Dan?
Yeah.
All right, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Neese.
Aye?
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Aye.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Nay.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Aye.
Councilmember Andraw.
Aye.
Councilmember Weicker. Aye. Councilmember Weinberg.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I will remind the council, if you're in person, please turn on your microphones for votes so the online participants can hear your votes.
Okay, so now we're back to the main motion amended to add that. Are there other amendments?
Yep.
Councilmember Weinberg.
So I move that we add the following goal to the utilities element. This is mail that I sent at 9 a.m. on Sunday, so I believe the whole council, including the city clerk, has this already typed up. This would be utilities element new goal 6.8, encourage PSE to offer contractual bidirectional charging and utilization of distributed energy resources, allowing PSE to use resources located at customer properties such as stationary batteries, electric vehicles, including electric school buses, and solar panels, thereby avoiding expensive or emitting sources of electricity in various scenarios throughout the year.
Is there a second? Looking for a
I'm
second.
second, sorry. Took me a minute to
Okay.
get off mute.
Seconded by Councilmember Reynolds. All right, you want to speak to the motion?
Sure. So one of the suggestions we read in our public comments was to add a goal to the utilities element to encourage any major new electricity loads to install batteries on or other distributed energy resources so they draw power off peak. I decided to make this motion after discussing the idea further with the individual who submitted it and with another subject matter expert on the, and going through several drafts of the proposed motion. I realized that we're nearing the end of a multi-year process of updating the comprehensive plan, but the whole purpose of giving the public 30 days to review the proposed changes to the comprehensive plan is to broaden the audience of people thinking about the legislation in question, and then collecting and carefully considering their feedback, and then being open to considering any reasonable changes that they suggest. I therefore encourage my colleagues to resist the temptation to say it's too late, and to seriously consider enacting this suggestion from our constituents, just as we are seriously considering the 63 changes that were submitted last week by the staff.
Okay, and for the benefit of the council, I have invited Matt Larson, who is in the Zoom waiting room, if anybody has an actual technical question for PSE, a subject matter expert. Wendy, of course, has a broad background in utility work with PSE. And so I will go to you, Councilmember Anderall.
Yeah, thanks. Frankly, I just don't understand what this means. I do not understand what this would accomplish or what it means from a practical standpoint. I mean, what happens if we add this goal?
Okay. Do you want that question to be answered by a technical expert or by Councilmember Weinberg, or who would you like to answer that question?
Well, I guess it's Ted's motion, so I kind of be interested to know if he knows, but if he does not have the technical expertise to do that, probably Matt.
Okay.
I'll
Can we, well, I would rather have Matt kind of address it if he's able to. I don't know how long he can hang out, but I know that he's got a couple council meetings to be at tonight.
I'm happy to take a crack at it
Let's
and
take
then
advantage of the expert.
let Matt essentially correct me where I'm wrong there. But
Well, let's not do that. Let's have, Matt, did you hear the discussion just of the motion there?
I did, yes. Thank you.
And so Councilmember Anderall is looking for maybe a technical explanation of what this means.
Well, I guess, well, first of all, I want to say I respect Councilmember Weinberg's sentiments here, that most of what he's mentioned, I think, are things that PSC would very much support. Although it is a bit of a, it would be difficult for us to understand exactly what that terminology, because it's kind of mixing several initiatives together, and some of which we're doing now, and which cities and PSC support. For example, distribute batteries, like battery walls at home. We already do have a program where you can participate in installing a home battery system, and then also make that available in a program with PSC called a Battery Flex program, where you get $1,000 per battery and $500 per year to participate, where we could draw down the battery during peak periods and so forth. So I don't want to take too much time, but I could go on with solar panels. We have a net metering program where, again, you can get 1-for-1 credit if you're creating more power during the daytime hours. And that can then be sort of banked or credited with PSC that can roll back when you need it at other times during the year or during the daytime. The bidirectional charging is one. I know Councilmember Weinberg and I talked about that. I think it's sort of an exciting next stage in things, but I'll try to give a quick example of the challenges with putting something in policy right now. Bidirectional charging, there's a whole fleet of vehicles from different manufacturers that are going to come out in the next 2 or 3, a couple of years next year, or actually a few already right now, Kia and others that have already put some on the market. The challenge is there's a great company, Enphase, that's created a whole ecosystem from solar panels, batteries, to your bidirectional charger, where you can control in one app. And they have an operational bidirectional charger, but they can't quite put it to market yet, because they have to get the auto dealerships or multiple auto manufacturers on board their system and all the proprietary system. And it's not altogether certain in the future if the automobiles manufacturers will get on board with them, because the auto manufacturers from the other end are coming into that ecosystem and are creating an ecosystem where not only do you buy the car, but you buy the bidirectional charger, the battery, and the solar system that's all under, like, for example, a GM brand. And so the future is quite uncertain in terms of who's going to get into and sort of dominate or set the standard for where the technology is. So in short, what I'm saying is it might be best to sort of avoid some great specificity in policy language right now, whether it's in a cap plan or a comp plan, and be more general. I did provide the mayor with a copy of some matrix language or sort of model language that we had provided this past April to city staff that can be used. I gave an example in some email on that too, of more general language that can be used, we're agnostic as to whether you want to use it in a comp plan or a cap plan, but it's up to you to maybe look at that. But we would certainly welcome further conversations on the issues that Councilmember Weinberg raised. Hopefully that answered some of your questions. I'm sorry if it.
No, we appreciate that coming from you.
Thank you, that was helpful. Appreciate it.
Councilmember Weinberg.
Yeah, so the intent is to enable people to be able to have their solar power that charges their batteries, and to have the power that's in their car be able to stabilize the grid when there is a need for that. And I believe that there's support, as Mr. Larson was mentioning, from PSE on that. There's still a need for standards out there that the industry is working on. But I think what the intent of the amendment is to make sure that we are showing support for building that with PSE.
Okay. Councilmember Weicker.
I'll just say I appreciate the intent, Ted, and I know PSC's been working on this for years, and there's a lot of changing technology and a lot of changing state regulations around this, so I don't think we need to put it in our comprehensive plan at this time.
Okay. Sorry. Councilmember Jacobson.
Without respect to any of the merits of this, and I do appreciate, Matt Larson, your explanation that enlightened me considerably on the subject. This seems to me to be something that, if anything, should be in the climate action plan, because it requires certain amounts of action, and the whole approach of our comp plan is to outline policies and to incorporate the various plans we have, be they parking plans, be they pros plan, any of these kinds of things that are on the operational and executive end of these kinds of things. So I think this would be appropriate to be in the cap. And the other situation we have here, and the philosophy that the staff has adopted very wisely, is that not to put things in the comprehensive plan that may or may not have to be amended, but put them in the subsidiary plans that are much simpler to amend. And particularly in a situation where the technology is changing or is dynamic. So I don't think it's appropriate to put this any more than it's appropriate to put some of the other things that were the staff, I think, wisely removed and referred to the cap, and in certain other instances, other plans we have. So I don't think this is the right place for it. And that has nothing to say about the merits of it, because I'm only dimly understanding things thanks to Matt.
Thank you. City Manager, is this a policy that is in the cap already?
Oops, sorry about that. Not as presented. We have broader language related to working with PSE on a number of initiatives. I did see, Matt, thank you for sending, again, the high-level thoughts on items to include in our comp plan. We don't have that exact verbiage, but PSE and our joint work together is referenced throughout.
Okay, great. So, thank you, Matt, for that. Any other discussion? All right, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Weicker.
Nay.
Councilmember Weinberg.
Aye.
Mayor Neese.
Nay?
Councilmember Jacobson.
Nay.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum. I'm sorry.
No.
Councilmember Andral.
Nay.
And Councilmember Reynolds.
Aye.
Motion fails 2-5.
Okay. Any other amendments? Councilmember Weiber.
Okay, so this is an amendment that I sent to the city clerk just before the meeting, and that city council also has a copy of it in their inboxes. So the amendment is, I move that we change the second sentence of proposed log entry 2-16 in Exhibit 2 to read, design safe pedestrian routes to break up larger city blocks.
Councilmember Weinberg, which question number are you on? You're not going in the
Sorry,
order that were
This is
sent.
for question number 2. Did I include?
There's not anything that you sent that
starts with
includes
3.
Oh, I
question
thought
number
it was
2.
Okay, thank you. So if you want, I can send you a typed copy of that.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Is this from the Q&A matrix, Ted?
So this was question number 2 in the Q&A matrix.
Got it.
And
Was
thank
this
you
in the
for-
email you sent at 5:38?
Andrea sent this out right before the meeting, I think the matrix, right?
Yes, the matrix was sent out about 2:30 this afternoon.
It's log number 2-16 in Exhibit 2, if it's easier to pull that up, the original text.
Okay, so I think I just sent the text of question number 2 to the council alias and also to city clerk.
Yeah, but what is the motion?
So the motion, I move that we change the second sentence of proposed log entry 2-16B to read, design safe pedestrian routes to break up larger city blocks.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All right, moved by Councilmember Weinberg, seconded by Councilmember Reynolds. Do you want to speak to the motion?
Sure. It's a very simple change to just make sure we preserve the concept of safety as the text is transferred from the land use element to the transportation element.
Okay. Any discussion?
Well, I think this is one of the problems that comes when amendments are untimely, because it doesn't give me, anyway, the opportunity to take a look and see if the subject's adequately covered in other matters. And we have a rule about that, and there's no reason why this couldn't have been brought in the 36-hour window that is subscribed. So I object to the motion on the grounds it's untimely.
May I respond to that?
No. Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum. I'm going to go in order that I see them.
Just a question from Councilmember Weinberg. Is this in response, is this log number 2 in the matrix that your question safe?
This is log entry 2-16B.
No. In the question answer matrix that was sent out this afternoon, is this in response to your question number 2?
Yes.
So if I'm reading this correctly, and maybe the staff can correct me if I'm wrong, but this idea of safety exists specifically, at least in goal number 7 and goal number 12 in a couple places, correct?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Weinberg.
So in response to the objection about it being untimely, so there were 63 changes that were sent to us by staff, and I read through all of them and looked at all the changes that were the location they were copying things from and where they're copying it to, and if there are any changes that were being made to the text as it was being copied from one place to the other. Staff provided us with the matrix that was a shared Word document that they said, if anyone has questions, please type them into this Word document. Staff dutifully read through all 13 of the questions that I had there and sent a response at 2:38 p.m. today. I did not notice that it was there until about 4 p.m. today, and so I did not have 36 hours to identify what staff's response was in order to meet the requirement of our no surprises rule. I did send out an email last night mentioning that, by the way, I sent in these questions. I'm not going to get the response within the 36-hour time window. So there was that heads up that this was coming.
Okay. I see that CPD Director Jeff Thomas has a hand up. I'm going to acknowledge him for the moment.
Just real quick, in the spirit of this conversation, our current city code, chapter 191106, which is town center regulations, section B, item 1, does already have in code, so it is a requirement for development to have mid-block connections when certain situations exist. So we have already codified something, at least in the town center, that would be similar to the proposed policy change here that's on the screen.
Okay. Councilmember Reynolds. Reynolds.
Yeah, thank you. Just wanted to reaffirm Councilmember Weinberg's point there. I think under the circumstances, you really proposed this within minutes of the soonest it would have been possible to propose this. So I think to a certain extent, we need to be willing to consider this. It seems to me a very reasonable amendment to make. We all want a more active, vibrant town center, and we've used the term of a walkable town center as well. And none of those things will occur without safe pedestrian routes. And so while this may arguably be a little bit redundant, the same could be said of almost anything in the plan. I think this is important enough, it's worth calling it out here. So I'll be supportive.
Okay. Not seeing any other hands. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Andral.
Nay.
Mayor Neese.
Nay.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Nay.
Councilmember Weinberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Aye.
And Councilmember Weicker.
Nay.
Motion fails 3-4.
Okay, are there any other amendments? Councilmember Weinberg.
Okay, so I move that the wording of the new policy 13.3 created by log entry 2-26B match what it was in goal 13. Specifically, town center buildings should meet a high standard of energy efficiency and sustainable construction practices and exhibit other innovative green features above and beyond what is required by the existing construction code.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Weinberg, seconded by Councilmember Reynolds. You want to speak to the motion?
Sure. So stating that buildings should, emphasis on the word should, go above and beyond what is required doesn't mean that they are required to go above and beyond. It's just encouraging developers to go beyond the bare minimum. There is no harm in including this language, and it sets the tone, but the setting of the tone can do a lot of good.
Okay.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Is this, Ted, just so Councilmember Weinberg, just so we can try to all anchor off the same thing here.
Sure.
Is this log number 3 in the Q&A matrix that was sent out this afternoon?
Yes.
And what is the corresponding log number in the Exhibit 2 that we're?
2-26B.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, discussion? City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Weicker?
Nay.
Councilmember Weinberg?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum?
No.
Councilmember Andral?
Nay.
Mayor Neese?
Nay.
Councilmember Jacobson? Councilmember Reynolds?
Aye.
Motion fails 2-.
Okay. Any other amendments? Councilmember Weinberg.
I move that we strike the change proposed in log 2-28. And this is related to item number 4 in the question answer matrix.
Okay. Is the change the word city? I'm just looking at the matrix and I see that in quotes.
So the change was to remove the word council and allow essentially the city to make changes.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Weinberg, seconded by Councilmember Reynolds. Do you want to speak to the motion?
I think that the city council needs to retain its authority to approve any proposed changes to its code.
Okay.
Well, I'd point out that this doesn't grant anybody the right to, or the measures to land use, change the land use code. All it says is the city may consider, and that's certainly that's a task that we expect of the CPD because they're on the lookout all the time for best practices. So I consider this to be a frivolous amendment.
Okay, any other discussion? City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Andral?
Nay.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Hey,
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum?
No.
Mayor Neese?
Nay.
Councilmember Reynolds?
Nay.
Councilmember Weinberg?
Aye.
And Councilmember Weicker?
Nay.
Motion fails 1-6.
All right, are there any other amendments? Councilmember Weinberg.
I move that we strike the change proposed in log 2-31. And this is item number 5 in the Q&A matrix.
All right, we'll wait till that's on the screen. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Weinberg, seconded by Councilmember Reynolds. Can I speak to the motion?
Thank you. So there is only one action in the building and energy section of the CAP plan, which relates to green building, which is BE 2.2, and it contains just 15 words. Land use goal 20, as it's currently described, or is currently worded, once you remove the duplicate header, that is, has 117 words, and it helpfully divides the proposed effort into 3 logical work streams. This seems like a helpful first step towards developing the green energy program. I recommend that we not delete this valuable work. We can consider moving it to the climate action plan the next time that we open up the climate action plan for review.
Okay, Councilmember Anderall.
Oh, I was just going to ask that if we could get a zoom out, because I wasn't able to see the whole page, but that's happened now, so I'm fine with this. If I haven't independently verified it, but if it is duplicative in some ways and conflicting in some ways with the goals and actions in the CAP, I agree strongly that it should not be in the comp plan. This is definitely a CAP goal, and that's where it belongs.
Yeah, and so Councilmember Weinberg, you're saying this is missing from the CAP, and you want to see it over there as well?
What I'm saying, I guess, is that the entry that's in the CAP is very short. It's only 30 words. And the entry that is, excuse me, it's only 15 words. And the entry that is before us for the comp plan amendment, or the one that we essentially approved on in our last meeting, is much more detailed and gives us a good first step towards breaking it into 3 work streams. And I think we should not destroy that work by deleting it, which is what the log is suggesting we do.
City Manager, what is the process for updating the CAP? Should this language want to end up in the CAP?
It's really the council's pleasure. You don't have any limitations on the number of time or frequency that you amend the climate action plan. I have been strongly advocating that policy changes be made in the CAP and not the comp plan. That is going to save our sanity in the long run because it won't require us to amend the comprehensive plan. So my recommendation tonight is if you'd like to amend the CAP plan, you pass a motion with a very specific change, and we can bring it back to you for ratification in 2025. So we would bring the whole CAP plan back to you with a change.
Got it.
You could also just set this on an agenda for further discussion next year if you're not prepared to make that motion tonight.
Of course. All right. Any other discussion? City Clerk, please call the roll. Oh, I see Councilmember Reynolds, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I'd just like to get a clarification on the city manager's comments just now. I think these motions Ted has been proposing, and I imagine there are a few more based on the email he sent out, generally are sound and appropriate and reasonable changes to make. If the changes belong in the CAP plan, if we're convinced of that, we've already gone through the part of the meeting where we were talking about the work plan for the city. Is that something we have to agenda? Like if I wanted to propose a motion to reopen the CAP plan to consider these things, when is the appropriate time and place in this meeting to do that?
I don't know that the correct verb is reopen. It's simply to direct a change to be made to the climate action plan, and you can make that motion tonight.
But presumably not while we have a motion on the floor at this point, correct?
That's correct.
No, not right now. We can do it after we get through this.
Okay. Well, if Councilmember Weinberg does not make that motion, I will at the appropriate time.
Okay. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Jacobson?
Nay.
Councilmember Anderall?
Nay.
Councilmember Weicker?
Nay.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum?
No.
Councilmember Weinberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Reynolds?
Aye.
And Mayor Neese.
Nay.
Motion fails 2-5.
Okay. Councilmember Weinberg, any more amendments
Yes.
to the motion?
All right, so jumping to the one that was for question number 11 in the Q&A. So the motion is, I move that we strike the changes proposed in log 8-4.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Weinberg, seconded by Councilmember Reynolds. We're going to speak to the motion, Councilmember Weinberg.
So I guess a question for the city manager is the city code is supposed to be based upon the values and policies that we have in the comprehensive plan, right? It's not the other way around. Is that right?
They need to align.
Okay, but
The language that we've struck does not align with the city code, which is why our legal counsel recommended it be removed.
so if we wanted to change the city code, and if we don't have something already aligning with it in the comprehensive plan, then would we essentially not be able to change the city code because there's nothing in the plan that it would align to?
That's not correct. Your comprehensive plan is your overarching policy document. We have many things in the code that don't directly tie back to the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
In this case, the sentence has been struck because it conflicts with what is in the code.
So you're saying that if we were to change the code as part of a docket item, and if there isn't anything specific in the comp plan that it aligns to, that wouldn't disqualify it from being a docket item?
It depends on the text, but I believe if you're interested in making an amendment to the code regarding noticing, that's a code amendment. That's not a comprehensive plan amendment. We have extensive code policy on noticing requirements for most of our permits.
Okay. And the second question, according to today's code, do notices of redevelopment does it go to nearby landowners or to business operators or both?
It depends on the permit.
Depends on the permit. Okay, so if there's a change happening in the land adjacent to somebody who owns a business, will the business owner get notified of that, or is?
I apologize, Councilmember Weinberg. We have reams and reams of code language on notification requirements. It's typically within a certain radius of the location of the permit that's issued, independent of who lives there or what is located there.
Okay.
If you wanted to do a deeper dive into noticing, I would need to schedule time for you to talk with the CPD director, and he can walk you through the various notification requirements for all of our permits.
Okay, so the intent of the motion was to make sure that our local businesses are getting informed of changes that are happening nearby to them. And the feedback that we got from in the discussion of the economic development plan indicated that they felt they weren't getting enough notice on that. I think what I'm hearing you say is that the right place to discuss that would be in preparation for a docket change and not in the comp plan. Is that correct?
That is correct. Jeff also has his hand up, so he may be able to add some color commentary.
Couple of comments. The first one is, Councilmember Weinberg, the notices is largely driven by the information available through King County's system. That's where addresses and the individuals or the companies or the owners are generated from. So we don't maintain our own database that auto generates some sort of list. So in a way, our hands are a little bit tied by we're reliant on someone else's information to generate those types of lists. So that answers hopefully the question about who are these notices going to. The second item I wanted to address, which I believe made it into the matrix that went out today, responding to your questions. The code amendment a docket request would go and it would have the city review its current noticing requirements. That's been done before, as recently as, I believe, in and about 2017 or 2018. So that is possible to do that. And again, as I mentioned in the text that I put into the matrix that went out today, depending on exactly what the request is or what the scope is, that would generate some sort of analysis and outcome that we'd be able to report back to the council on. But until we get that dialed in, that would be through a docket request. That would be the avenue on how the city council, if they wish, would like to have this type of matter reviewed and analyzed, and we'll see what comes out of it.
Okay, thank you. So in light of the information I've gotten from the city manager and from Director Thomas, and if it's okay with the person who seconded the motion, I'd like to withdraw the motion.
Okay. Councilmember Reynolds?
That's fine.
All right, motion, the amendment to the motion is withdrawn.
Okay.
Councilmember Weinberg?
All right, one more. So this one is relating to item number 12 in the question and answer matrix. I move that we strike the changes proposed in log number 8-12.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Weinberg, seconded by Councilmember Reynolds. We're waiting for staff to get that on the screen. Is that it? You said 8 dot what? That's 10.4.
Yeah.
8-12.
Oh, sorry, couldn't see that part.
Yeah, 10.4 is the number of the policy and the economic development plan.
Okay.
They're proposing
So
to
again,
change.
what is your motion?
Is to strike the changes proposed in 8-12.
Okay. All right, do you want to speak to the motion?
Sure, thank you. So the changes proposed in log 8-12, I might miss the point of goal 10.4. The intent of the goal 10.4 is to ensure that the fees that we charge are not having an outsized effect upon the business's startup costs, even if we are only covering our costs, which I've been assured that we are. If we find that a particular fee is having a significant or creating a significant barrier to business development, we may need to reconsider the underlying value to the community of the city service for which that fee is being charged.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Weiger?
Nay.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Nay.
Councilmember Andral?
Nay.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum?
No.
Councilmember Weinberg?
Aye.
Mayor Neese?
Nay.
And Councilmember Reynolds?
Nay.
Motion fails 1-6.
Okay, we're back to the amended motion on the floor. Any other amendments?
Nope.
Not seeing any. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Weinberg?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum?
Yes.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Aye.
Councilmember Weiger?
Aye.
Councilmember Reynolds?
Aye.
Mayor Neese?
Aye.
And Councilmember Andral.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we've got a couple procedural motions. Council, is there a motion to schedule ordinance 24C-16 for second reading on November 19, 2024?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, moved by Councilmember Jacobson, seconded by Councilmember Reynolds. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Neese?
Aye.
Councilmember Reynolds?
Aye.
Councilmember Andral?
Aye.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Aye.
Councilmember Weinberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Weicker?
Aye.
And Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, motion passes. Lastly, is there a motion to direct the city manager to make any final non-substantive amendments as necessary of the 2024 comprehensive plan in preparation for second reading and adoption on November 19, 2024?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Weicker, seconded by Councilmember Jacobson. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Jacobson?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum?
Aye.
Councilmember Weicker?
Aye.
Councilmember Andral?
Aye.
Councilmember Reynolds?
Aye.
Councilmember Weinberg,
Aye.
and Mayor Neese.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, council, any other motions anybody wants to make before we move off of this? Councilmember Reynolds.
Yes, I would move to direct city staff to prepare a revised draft of the climate action plan with due reflection of the climate-related motions that Councilmember Weinberg presented this evening for consideration in a future council meeting.
Second?
Okay, moved by Councilmember Reynolds, seconded by Councilmember Weinberg. Councilmember Weicker.
So my understanding is that we have a climate action plan that we just finished a couple years ago. So you're wanting to you're wanting to revisit that and consider where we have some gaps? Is that what you're proposing?
Effectively, yes. I think Councilmember Weinberg has identified a number of areas where the plan lacks some specificity. It's not entirely surprising that happens. It's a huge document that we all worked on over quite some time. It was inevitable that a few things would be missed. I think these changes are very reasonable changes and additions that would make for a stronger plan and give the staff and the council more guidance on how to proceed. I think it's that we heard from a number of people in the council meeting tonight saying that these were perhaps appropriate changes to consider, but that the cap was the place to do it. So let's do it in the cap.
Okay, Councilmember Anderall.
I'm just not prepared to vote for this at this time. I would like some further evaluation of what type of work this would require and whether we think it's really necessary. You know, will anything bad happen if we don't do these updates? I'm not persuaded that we know that or that we've had enough time to deliberate on that tonight. So while it might be a motion that's well taken at some point, I know we've got a very busy 2 years ahead of us, and I'm not willing to just add a work item for staff right now with no real research or discussion.
Okay, City Clerk, you had a question?
May I please read the motion back as I captured it?
Certainly.
I captured, direct the city manager to prepare a revised draft of the climate action plan with due reflection of the climate-related motions that Councilmember Weinberg made at tonight's meeting for consideration at a future city council meeting.
That was a pretty fabulous translation of my somewhat incoherent 3:00 a.m. Version.
I was gonna say.
Okay, Councilmember Weinberg.
Why don't you come back to me in a minute? Let me,
Councilmember Weicker.
Okay, so I don't know that Jesse can prepare the revision without another deeper dive. So Jesse, can I turn to you to ask what your thoughts are around this direction? And what would have to get off the work plan to be able to accommodate whatever you would bring forward?
Yeah, I'm not sure on the timing of this. I think the motion, while I understand the spirit, is vague enough that I need to come back and review, I think, probably the log and get more specific direction from the council on what items are in and which items are not. There was duplication in the comp plan and the climate action plan. There was, so
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think we all feel the pain. Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
Yeah, unless I'm missing something, we could probably come back to this in a few weeks. So I guess I would ask Councilmember Reynolds and Councilmember Weinberg to if possible, to circulate a little more specificity about which amendments these are. And maybe we could think about this down in a couple of weeks. I'm a little there's a lot sent out, so I'm just a little unsure as to what would actually be in that motion.
Yeah, I have to agree. It is a little difficult in the moment to try and understand what it is that we're voting for. Councilmember Reynolds, can you tell me exactly what are the items that we're voting on?
I think it would be more helpful if Councilmember Weinberg did that, since he has the full list of motions in front of him, but I think it was fairly clear of which of the ones he proposed were climate-related.
So it's every one of those?
All of the climate-related ones were the ones I was suggesting for consideration, that's correct.
Okay. Councilmember Weinberg, do you want to speak to this motion?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that we need, as council members, we need to be responsive to our community we did give people 30 days to look at the draft of the comprehensive plan. We got feedback from people, and we got a significant number of changes as of what, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday of last week, that we had to process very quickly. I want to make sure that we are we're reading through those and considering those rather than kind of being in a rush to accept all of those. So I recommend that we seriously consider these changes, and if it requires having some time to think about what changes would go into the cap plan, then I think it's a good approach to it.
Okay. Councilmember Weicker.
I will just say, I think Alana's been doing a great job as our sustainability analyst and management analyst around all this climate action work with the K4C and the climate action plan as we have it. So I'm inclined to wait and see more specificity later. So I'm not inclined to support this.
Okay. Councilmember Weinberg, old hand?
Old hand, thank you.
All right. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Weinberg.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum.
No.
Councilmember Weicker.
Nay.
Councilmember Andral.
Nay.
Mayor Neese.
Nay.
Councilmember Reynolds.
Aye.
And Councilmember Jacobson.
Nay.
Motion fails 2-5.
Okay. So that concludes that item of regular business. We now move to other business in the planning schedule, and we welcome City Manager Jesse Bond.
Good evening again, City Council. Looking ahead to November 19th, I just want to call out that we will continue our work on the 2025-2026 biennial budget. The meeting includes a handful of public hearings and ordinance adoptions as we look towards final adoption of the budget on December 3rd. I will also note the December 3rd meeting now includes the board and commission appointments for the Planning Commission. We also added to the December 3rd meeting the audit exit conference with the auditors. That ended up being the only date that worked for them. And I believe that is all I have for you this evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We're going to work and see if we can get Craig off to bed in Lisbon there. Any other council absences to report? Not seeing any. All right. Council member reports. Anything to report? Deputy Mayor Rosenbaum?
Nothing to report.
I have nothing to report. Councilmember Weicker?
Nope.
Weinberg?
Yeah, so on Tuesday, October 29th, Mercer Island had the pleasure to welcome Ms. Coralie An, who is the daughter of a city council member of Joel An, for our sister city in Tonneau-les-Bains, France. I and several members of the board of our sister city association met with Ms. An and took her to lunch at the new Crawl Space restaurant here on the island and explored several civic buildings and parks and historical sites in the island, as well as some tourist attractions in the region. Ms. An handed me a letter for our mayor from Christophe Armijan, and it was to our mayor from Christophe Armijan, who's the mayor of Tonneau-les-Bains. She also gave us the gift of 2 boxes of Swiss candy, one of which we opened up and devoured as a group. The other of which is for Mayor Neese. I will be delivering those the letter and the box of candy to him. I would also like to mention that the Sister City Association, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary next year, is excitedly preparing to send its 10th biennial delegation from Mercer Island High School to Tonneau-les-Bains in 2025. So students are already eagerly filling out their applications leading up to the November 15th application deadline. That's November 15th. And interested students can find the application materials on the Mercer Island Sister City Association website. And finally, my next open lunch will be at noon on Sunday, November 24th at Allister. As always, all are welcome. It's an open agenda. Anything people want to talk about, even questions about city business if they like. All I ask is that everybody please show their respects to the chef by ordering some food and/or beverage.
Okay. Councilmember Reynolds, anything to report?
Just very quickly note that tomorrow is election day. I'm not too confused on my time zones. I'm encouraging everybody to get out and vote.
And Councilmember Andral.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Councilmember Jacobson.
Yes, one small report. A couple weekends ago, the Parks and Rec Department under the very able leadership of Lizzie Sloan, had a planting of trees and shrubs and these kinds of things in the open space adjacent to the Gallagher Hill, or I guess it's called Gallagher Hill Open. And I think everything got planted. I was happy to be there to kick it off, and well done to Lizzie Stone, because she had that thing really ably organized, and there are about, I think, 75 or 80 people, volunteers who came. So well done.
Thank you. All right, the next hybrid meeting of the City Council is scheduled for Tuesday, November 19, 2024 at 5 p.m. The time is now 6:36 p.m. As a reminder to council, please stay seated until the city has terminated the broadcast. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight.